Oh, I think it's working. Hey, hey. Whoops. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. And I guess I'll record this too, just to be safe. All right. So, I suck at presentations, so I'll make this part quick. I'll show you guys the program kind of quick, go through it, and then open up the floor, let you guys ask questions, thoughts, etc. If you want me to do some more with it, I can show it off, but we'll walk through it. Basically, designing this whole program and its sister programs, DCS OPT for operational planning tool. Uh, the goal here is to basically streamline mission making as much as humanly possible. Mission making is a bitch. No one wants to do it, and there's too many things that go wrong. So my goal here is to make a program that takes you from soup to nuts, and then you don't have to mess too much in the editor, forgetting things, frequencies, etc. A lot of things that every wing has to kind of duct tape together is your roster, the events, meaning your missions, whatever, greenie boards, things like that, and just missions. They end up getting emailed around too much. No one knows exactly what's going on. You end up with a million Discord channels trying to keep everything organized. It's kind of a pain. So again, like I said, the mission should kind of carry all the way through, meaning your one mission file will go through these programs a couple of times as your team plans and does edits and things, but the same mission file stays in one place and then just gets updated as you move along. So the three things I've made, we have Ms. Maker, which is just basically the OPT, the main program, operational planning tool. Then I have the Ready Room, which is a similar program that we run over at CSG3. It's much more simple than what we have there, but it's essentially just squadron management, like a web page. You can enter in all your squadron's information, just, modexes, liveries, etc. And then the bot that takes all that information and connects it to your Discord, and vice versa will take information from your Discord and put it into the ready room or the mission, like liveries, modexes, etc. They all work independently. Each one has their own purpose in and of itself. But the beauty is when they all work together and they're all wired in, they work all in hand and do a whole bunch together. So essentially, you make your mission, go in and edit it. You go into the ready room. Everyone has their flights assigned and everything. The bot will then create an event in your Discord. Everyone signs up. Pilots fly the mission. It's going to give you back all the important information, like, traps, bombs, etc. We'll go through it all. And then finally, a little greenie board at the end, help keep track of just general traps and whatnot, similar like we do at CSG, help squadrons keep track of those things. So to kind of go into each one, we have the Ms. Maker. The whole map, you'll be able to see everything, so I'm not going to go into too much detail right now. But the whole point here is mission editing, minutia, frequencies, data links, weapons, liveries, assigning things on ground units, mass naming, things like that. Things that can eat up a ton of time when you're making missions. The ready room, like I said, rosters, events, mission imports, carrier and LSO support. Just things to help keep track of your squadron and all the goings on, the important stuff. It's not designed for anyone's like private info by any stretch. No one wants anyone's private info out there. So this is all just DCS stuff. People don't have to like give me their license to use this or anything like that. The ops bot basically is a moderation bot, similar to like Meeseeks or something like that. Creates embeds, basic moderation tools, welcome page. Anyone who's joined the Discord in the last day or two, you can see the little welcome page I made when you join in. Things like that. Basic stuff, but it also has some more DCS focused features, which we'll get into. Already kind of went through that. So you have, this is again going to the bot and everything. You're going to have access based on tiers. So if you're the mission maker, you can lock down things so other people can't see them or access them. Uh, Threats, things like that. Even just more admin stuff like signing into the bots, etc. They'll have roles. So, you know, depending on your command structure, you can kind of tailor those things. Like I said, with the moderation bot, it's a Meeseeks parody is the best one I can compare it to. Just a lot of general feature moderation stuff that a lot of squadrons use. And, those programs cost a lot of money. I'm not charging anything for all this. This is all going to be for the love of DCS. And then finally, in the edition editor, I've also got an Olympus bridge. So there is live stuff we can do in there as well. As I just said, free. I am not charging for this. Have no plans to charge for this. Too many things in DCS cost money, and squadrons pay for a ton of stuff, and it starts adding up. And I don't want to add for that. So we're going to try to keep this as free as humanly possible for as long as humanly possible. I have no plans to charge. Open source as well. I'll be posting everything to GitHub, so you guys can track work, see updates, etc. If for some reason you just hate the way I'm doing it, take my code and rebuild it. I don't care. Again, DCS. That's all I'm really here for. So yeah, at this point, with the beta going out to you guys, I'm inviting everyone to come and break it. Tell me what's wrong with it. I do not want like positive feedback's great. I always love being told I did a good job, but the goal here is to tell me what's broken. I want to make this thing better. And like I said before, it's hard when you've looked at the same thing over and over and over again. You start missing the imperfections. So getting a new set of eyes on everything will be incredibly helpful. And with that, let me show you the bot. So when you first log in, and you don't even have to log in to be clear, this is like the main page. Log in like any other DC or Discord bot, excuse me. You can sign in as a guest. You will lose a lot of the functionality that comes with everything wired together. But that being said, if someone's really paranoid about security, etc., there's options for you out there with this. I have no interest in collecting things. So when we go in, first thing we can do, sorry, I skipped over this, is you can link up an AI to it. There's some free options, which is what I'm going to show today, because the free ones are obviously the weakest. And I'm going to show you the weakest version of this program. And if you decide to like go for a paid version, you'll get a better experience. But we'll just go with the free one so I don't overpromise and underdeliver. So with that, we'll load up a mission. We're just going to use something I use over at the Hornet School. Has a good variety of stuff in there. And there we go. Excuse me. So now that we're in the mission, basic map features, over here we can change all the maps, satellite, topography, dark, light, etc. Just depending on what you like to look at when you're editing. Tons of filters. So if you want to focus on certain things, you can. Measure tools, with all up here, weather, all that kind of important stuff, how stuff's displayed, new ground speed, etc. Whole bunch of options in there. SOP, I'm just using the stuff from CSG right now, but it works with any SOP. You basically just load up your files into here, extract them with the AI, and it will then see all your different flights, tankers, support crafts, comm channels, TACANs, laser codes, basically anything squadron specific that needs to be assigned. With that green little bar, that's just telling me that my SOP is active. If I'm working with like different groups, I can make different SOPs in my library, all get saved in your browser. So if you like delete all your browser history stuff, it will delete all of it. So it's not stored on my end, it's all local for you. But save up your libraries, then you can do an SOP check. Um, I encourage it with the cheaper AIs, excuse me. They aren't the best, so double check that it's actually assigning things properly. And then once you do, you can save everything and then move on to the next parts. So a few things that are just basic in the mission editor that I added here just for ease of use. Coalition changing, so you can easily switch groups around. The mission tab brings us to like the briefing tab that no one ever wants to fill out because it's a pain to fill these out. So we can just autofill, and you can see it didn't overwrite what I already had here. So if you have something already in an old mission, for instance, you load it up into here and you hit the autofill, it's not going to delete anything you already had, but it'll give you basic sortie names, etc. Yeah, kind of. Uh, I'll go. We'll get to there when we get down to the briefing stuff. No, you're good. So options again, a lot of just stuff that's in the DCS stuff already. Um, just a second place in case you don't have to want to load up the editor again while you're doing all this. One thing I did add is the strip required modules for download, meaning over at the Hornet School, for instance, we have a bunch of Blackhawks for the admins and mentors to fly around in when they're bored. But we don't want to make our server locked down and require you to have mods. So if it's non-mission critical, you can strip out the required mod code in the Ms file itself, and then anyone can join in. You're not blocked by mods if that's your preference. You can also turn it off if you do want to keep people locked out from mission critical things. Combined arms slot, so you can make any unit on your map a combined arms unit for later on. The drawing tab, this is in hold until some updates. The goal page, no one ever really uses this, but I did add the ability if you want to put points to things. Whoops. Weather tab, you got all the presets. So once you build your mission, you come in here and you want to make your weather. It's as easy as just pushing a button. What you want. If you want to customize all this stuff, you can. But it'll do a pretty good job of making the weather conditions pretty accurate for what you press. Then if you want to get really technical with it, there's the advanced weather tab. That'll give you a whole bunch more weather options, crosswind calculators, cloud preset stuff, ice halo fog. Uh, I got asked to add this to contrail altitude. I thought that was a cool little feature. Date and time, you can auto set, depending on the time of day you want. So you don't have to mess with that. This is where it starts doing the heavy lifting for you. A lot of that stuff before is just kind of fluff. Here, for instance, most groups use carrier scripts, Moose or what have you. So that way through the F10 menu, you can turn your boat into the wind, control the lights, etc. Uh, I hate coding and scripting. It's a pain. So I figured everyone else probably does too. So we can go in, double check. That's one bug I actually found while I was testing for tonight. It's not assigning TACANs quite properly. But it'll generate a full script. Add that script to the triggers. Now when we go into the triggers, you can see it's added that entire carrier script, the moose file required for to run it, and all the flags to control it. So 3 clicks of a button, carrier scripts are added. Same thing with Aegis, which is CSG's in-house IAD script. If you want to use it, that script is in our library, public for everybody. Just regenerate and hit apply. It'll literally track down all of your SAM sites and build them into working IADs. This mission is obviously super basic, so I don't have power supplies, EWs, etc. But it will build full IADs. So if you have a much more complicated SAM system, it can handle it. I've thrown the kitchen sink at it, and it does really well. Another one a lot of people use that people asked me to add in was troops in contact. It's more just for some fluff on the ground, but if you want to use it, you can just hit regenerate. You can see it's auto assigned every ground unit, the troops in contact nomenclature to make it work, and then just hit apply. And all those units now have troops in contact. If you want to make them do the more specific stuff in troops in contact, if you're familiar with it, all those options are in here for you as well. Direct, ROE, mount, dismount, things like that. And the ATIS support. So if you want to add ATIS to your airport, it's as easy as just clicking it, double checking if you want to make sure that frequency is correct, etc. Add ATIS to the trigger. And again, we go there, SRS ATIS station. And I do need to upload the script file. That was another thing I had found earlier. But next up, threats. It will look at all your waypoints, etc. So if you're making a mission and you realize your tanker is running through an SA6, it'll tell you. You can see on this mission, everyone is clear, so I don't need to worry about it. But if they were in the red, let's say, just click on the map. It'll take you to their waypoints, tell you where they are. That way you can adjust it. Dimpies. So if you guys want to add some points of interest, things to blow up, just go in here, place the pin wherever you want it. We'll pick there. Now we have a Dimpy. JTAC stuff, same thing. It'll look at the units that are applicable for JTAC for both sides, and you just press a button. Roster loadout. This is just in there in case you don't want to use any of the other tools, so you still have the ability to upload your roster via spreadsheet, and then it will parse out, modexes, things like that, whatever it can. It'll also generate full sign-up sheets. So, for instance, I'll show you guys. Slides. Look. There we go. There you go. You can see just based on everything I fed it, it's now able to make up a full sign-up sheet. This does need some tweaking. There's a relatively new feature to it, so still a few things to fix on it, but trying to do as much of the heavy lifting for you as possible. Loadouts, same thing. Very easy to use. So if you want to, say, set up a jet to have certain weapons, just go through here. It's all assignable. If you want to copy it to other jets, you can do that. So now these guys have the exact same loadout as this guy. So if you're making a big mission where everyone's got the same loadout, copy and paste it super easy. Or change up old missions with new loadouts, etc. Data link, same deal. It'll scan your whole SOP and try to name it appropriately. So, like we have training one, it named it TR11 for your data link. Mentor changes to MN. So it does its best to shorten it in a way that makes sense. Radios, same thing. Uses your SOP. So you can see here it found a conflict. Auto deconflict, apply changes. And it's used the SOP to again scan those. There are still a few little bugs in these radio, the way it's assigning. That's my top thing I am actually fixing. So if you play with this and you notice the radio things, should be gone in a day or two. Oops, excuse me. There's more on there. Yeah. Ooh. Yes. Yep, that is an option. I will show you here in a second. Huh. Apparently my TACAN tab is just broken. That's good. Apparently that's now my top fix. It'll all that is it literally just looks at all the airports and anywhere you have a TACAN and ask if you want to auto assign anything if it's missing. Ada, same thing, it's just in two places in case you miss it. DTC builder, which again is also still in progress. There's a few things missing, but you can go through, set up a whole bunch of your stuff how you like it, export a DTC file, or you can load other DTC files, make edits. There's some preset ones you can choose from, pretty basic stuff. And then to answer your question, liveries. Modex are actually on another page, but mass or just a basic livery page. I think the mission editor one is better, but people ask for it, so I put it on here as just a page in case you miss something. You want to add it at the end. Big one is the kneeboard. Everyone loves this one. So, takes your mission and generates full kneeboards. Based off no work. There are still a few little formatting issues with some of the longer names I'm working on. You can set up the threats to be realistic, meaning they're vague. So as you can see on there, they're not exact, just where we think there's targets. Or if you're doing like easy mode, there you can see exactly where the threats are, their WES, everything else. So it gives you some option for how your group plays. Obviously change them day or night mode. You can also customize all the colors on it. So I made a test one. So if you absolutely hate the colors that are default, you can change everything on here, customize them up. I am working on a template loader for these. So if your squadron has like a template they use for kneeboards, hopefully here soon you'll be able to just load that in and then the kneeboards will generate to fit that template. But that is still in the works. Yeah. Um, that I believe I have options on the brief. I actually have templates, and I'll show you what I got on there when we get to it. But I try to add options for people because I know some people like PNGs, some people like JPEG. Depending on what your use is. So try to give you options. Yep. Yeah, I'll show you how like with the briefs. I do have it where the template works. So when I get to that, I'll show you. And like I said, I try to give some options. So depending on your group, what you have already, hopefully it works. But yeah, and then cool one I just added was the pop-ups. So you can customize all the pop-up information in there if you like. It will scan waypoints if you already have them in as a pop-up attack and do its best to parse them. But with anything AI that is parsing this information out, uh, human edits should always be an option. So, and same thing with notes. If you want to add anything on any of your cards, you know, that should now be on the root card. There you go. Adds it in real time. And obviously, too, you can customize what cards you have. You don't have to download all of these if you don't want. And you can also go through and download individual flight kneeboards with just the download option, or you can get the entire flight worth of kneeboard packs with the download all. So if you're doing in a large group, all the waypoints are planned. Pop it in here, let the kneeboard generate, and then download all for everybody, and then you can hand out the zip files. Or if you want, you can also just embed them or inject them rather into the MIS file. But that can be a bit messy when you have large groups because then you have everyone's kneeboards in there. But smaller groups totally makes sense to just pop in everyone's kneeboards. So again, options, briefings, same deal. And this will hopefully answer your question. So you go in here and you can download them as PowerPoint, PDF, slides. And when you upload a template, I do have them currently just as PowerPoint for uploads, but I can offer more for that. That's a pretty easy add. Same thing, you can change all the colors just like you could on a kneeboard, customize them a bit. The thing with the kneeboard is this is where the AI really, whatever AI you link up to it is going to do its work. You can do a mission story. So on this one, we're just going to say the Russians are invading from the north. NATO forces are defending Georgia. So it'll pump out, the more detail you give it, the more it has to work with. Same with the threat brief. Oh, my Gemini's been acting up today for some reason, but you get the gist of it. Once you do that, you preview it. And there we go. Super basic. Like I said, the more information, didn't parse that, but the more information you give it, the more it can do. And then takes it a second. There we go. So these are our templates over from CSG. You can see it's changed the colors to try to fit, try to make things, format appropriately. And then, like I said earlier, with anything AI, you should always have the option to edit it. So any of those briefing slides, you can come down here and change everything on it. I was helping one of our mission makers the other day using this. He's really particular on what his briefs say and reveal, et cetera, et cetera. And about 15 minutes in here with a bunch of edits, and we were able to make, a full, it was an 11-page, 12-page brief with images that, worked perfectly. Give me 1 second. Sorry, phone kept ringing. But yeah, so save a ton of work with briefings, kneeboards, things like that. Customize them to your group. Play with the AI. Again, if you use the more like Anthropic AIs that you pay for, you're going to get a better result. It's going to give you more information, better, commanders' intents, things like that. you can see just off basic information it reads from the map. It tries to parse out what's going on and at least give you something. But the more you feed into it, scrolled way too fast. The more you feed into it here, the more it can give you back up here. But I don't want to waste your guys' time, entering in a million things into the program. But again, something I encourage people to play with, see what's broken, see what needs added, etc. Um, so with that, of course, I had to refresh so it doesn't show all the edits we made, but this will just show you all the pending edits that you've made. On a really large mission, I've made anywhere from like 1,200 to 1,400 edits on a mission using this program. Uh, again, in under like 10 to 15 minutes of work. So if you translate that out to time you're spending in the mission editor, assigning liveries, data links, etc., 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 this will save you a ton of time. One last little feature someone asked me to add. So as the mission maker who's putting this on, maybe you don't want your SAMs to be seen or a boat to be seen, etc., on the planning side when people are looking at all this. So you have full ability, similar to the hidden function in the mission editor, except it doesn't actually make that unit hidden in the mission editor. It just makes it hidden on the map that you see. So if you want to hide some stuff, leave some surprises, maybe some man pads, that's still totally doable. This won't show your hand. And then you can also preview it as a flight lead to make sure that you do have everything hidden that you want hidden as the mission maker. Then I added a simple debug tool. It'll just scan your mission, look for anything that it thinks is off, and try to fix it for you. Uh, Again, it's AI. When it does stuff like this, it's utilizing that AI you've linked to it. So double check its work. Don't trust it. Uh, Last little thing is the tools page on here. Unit renamers. And, oh, where's my modex thing? This should be the panel where I can change modexes, but that is not showing for some reason. There's 3 things I found already tonight I need to fix. And then same with the batch editing. So this is actually what birthed the entire thing. Was I was making some templates, and I built like the full Levant SAM system through Syria. Made a bunch of templates and then copied and pasted them through in the right locations. But realized that I forgot to change them from the green camo to desert camo, and I'm anal retentive, so that drove me nuts. And I didn't know the best way to change 1,000 or 1,000 units worth of liveries. So I made a batch editor, and then everything kind of snowballed from there. But with this, you can go through big ground units, and it'll find. So like here, there's no livery that applies to all of them, so there's no change to be made. But if you go through and you know certain things, it'll show you which liveries are applicable for those units, if they have matching ones, etc. And then same with modexes. When you build a mission, all the modexes, especially for each side, are just like in order, which I'm anal retentive. Made a little randomizer for the AI modexes, so that way you don't have everything just in a row numerically. And that is the majority. Yes, I actually need to talk to you about Tomcat stuff for this because I need more information for other jets, which is another big part of the feedback plan. Uh, is getting other people with, God damn it, getting other people with other jets, F-16s, A-10s, 14s, you name it. I want their feedback and what I can add to this to help their jet, generate the right things, etc. I fly the Hornet. I don't know everyone else's jet at all, so input welcome. Um, mhm. should be automatically keeping up. Good question, actually, because that also goes back to the scripting. Um, we have the script library, which was in here. A bunch of scripts are in here. Everything should be auto updating. Meaning if Moose, DCS, anything updates, the program sees it, makes changes as needed. Well, it gives me a list of things that it thinks need changes, and then I will authorize essentially what I think needs fixed or not. But it'll do that with each update for everything, in theory. And then I'll blast through these pretty quick, and then I'll let you guys ask some questions. This is the planning page. So once you've done all your editing, etc., you come in here and you can generate codes to send to another flight lead. And similar to like frag orders, except mine is real time, meaning if you and another person are planning a flight, looking at this, and I move a waypoint, the other person sees it in real time. No refreshing the page or anything like that. So you can have multiple people. I think I've tested it so far with 4 at a time. I'd like to see with like 8 just to get crazy with it. But you can have multiple people on here making edits to the planning side simultaneously for planning purposes. Full METAR, a lot of the stuff from the first page is kind of carried over as helpful stuff, since this page is a bit more for like your flight leads to get into. So a lot less of the editor stuff and just some of the more helpful features. And then once you do all your planning, the boards are made, everything's good to go. If you're running bigger missions, typically you have kind of like a dungeon master who's running the show that night. So I added in a live terminal that will watch your server that runs off of Olympus and uses the same controls, just a different interface essentially. But you can spawn in units, get rid of units, anything Olympus can do. And this is still in, admittedly, a bit of an alpha phase, but I'm adding in full ATC controls and things like that. Getting bras off units, measuring tools to give you bra, bullseye, things like that. Drawing tools that give you the same thing. Oops. Airfield approaches, so you can pick your airfield. I got some guys over here flying at Sanaki. So if I wanted to use approach 09, there's all my information. It'll watch their glide slope, their azimuth, pretty much all the information ATC is going to need. Again, this is an alpha, so still a lot of work to do here, but got a few actual ATC guys helping me fill some of the gaps, because I guess a lot of ATC's been having some issues. And once they saw this, I figured the architecture was already in place to put together a lot of this. And yeah, other than that, I'll show you guys these tools here in a few minutes. But do you guys have questions for me on this stuff so far? No, I don't think it will, but I should make that an option up here to change the backgrounds on those. So, feature coming. There's another reason I wanted to bring it to other people. There's tons of ideas I haven't thought of, just basic stuff like that. So, thank you. This is still admittedly under construction. There's a few issues with mainly these 2 panels, but these 2 panels do work pretty consistently well. But ask your specific question. Sorry. the actions or conditions. Yep, yep. You can do all that through here. All the flag stuff. So if you go through your mission editor and forget something, like the debug maybe will pick it up. You don't have to necessarily go all the way back to your mission editor to make some of these fixes. Uh, and then the nice thing too, if you do want like, oh, or let's say moose, which is already on this one to be fair, but we'll mangle my mission. You just click that button, add to triggers. There's moose. It's added it. There's a script file. It's on a mission start. So that one's a super basic one. It's not doing a complicated whatnot, but adds it all automatically for you. And then anything up here like scripts, say like the IADs, say you use this in your mission and you really like it, you go, oh, that's a cool idea, whatever. It automatically adds the triggers here for you already. So you don't have to go back through and double check that things are working. So you can see there the moose and Aegis got added. Although I do need to make it where it doesn't moose load multiple times. So that's another fix I found. Yeah, that would be. Or go ahead. Sorry. Yes. Ooh, that's actually a good. It doesn't have quite that much detail, but I can definitely add some more to it. As far as like restrictions and whatnot. A little bit of abilities for squads to customize. So that's something I'm going to look into. Um, but with this, yeah, I guess it's a good segue as any into the other programs. Um, so with the ready room, this is where you're essentially going to build up that information. You're going to tell it, your squadrons, who's in charge of those squadrons. Do you have, specific LSO guys, JTACs, what have you? Get everyone assigned, to what they do. You can build up your own qualifications, which I'll go through all this here in a second, but you can build up all your qualifications. Uh, then it populates all the roster, all that stuff. I actually still need to do this. I've been so busy, I haven't tested all this. But yeah, once it's all wired together, you can then go through and say for an event, I wish Sapper was here. Oh, he is here. Sapper, can you share your screen and show them in your Discord how it worked? The event tab thing that we made. That'd be easier than me typing one out. Yep. Yep. So if you're looking at my screen, you can see. Hopefully, it's not doing like infinite screens, but you can see he's entered something into his event calendar. It's actually through the bot, but the calendar will do the same thing. And then it will generate this embed with. You can see the buttons below where people can assign what they want to be in. You can make this as detailed as you want. There's options on this panel to add, more specific what flight it is, what slot, and then another set of buttons will show up to ask you what slot in the flight you want to be. Some things like that. But I do like the idea of the restrictions though too. Depending on your squadron's qual system. Uh, so yeah, I'll take you through some. Yeah, please. So from what I've seen and heard rumblings of, there's some stuff coming to, I believe it's the DTC, that's going to be adding like lines essentially, or you can draw out corridors and stuff. So I put a hold on the drawing tab until that comes out because I have a feeling it's going to make a lot of the drawings we use more obsolete. Um, Once that comes out, I will. That's what that's what I'm saying though. I don't. Yes, that like you can see if you draw a line, it shows up in the editor. I do not have a tool yet that does like full on drawings like this. Um, Yeah, I mean, this is not, like I said, to replace the editor as much as supplement it. So there's still stuff to do in the editor for sure. The analogy I've been giving people is like play GI Joes. Just place your units where you want them, and then this will do most of the rest of the work for you. Um, Obviously, AI units you need to give waypoints, but go ahead. Typically, you're gonna have to download and throw it back up, only because I don't want to have databases as much as possible. um, for mainly security's sake. I don't want, I know a DCS mission file doesn't have anything personal on it, but I'm no IT security expert. So my goal with all of this has been to keep as little information on my servers, so to speak, like Railway, Supabase, etc. I mean, there are databases that exist, but they don't. It's literally just for like the embeds that are getting put in and things like that. It's not capturing Discord logins or anything like that. So I've just tried to keep anything that has to stay on hand to a minimum, if that makes sense. Whoops. Of course, I don't have my thing. Guess we'll just try it with Notepad and see what it looks like. So yeah, yeah, it's literally saving just like a raw JSON file. It's more there just as an extra if people want it. But no, I mean, typically you just download the Miz and then it'll give you a new one with the prefix or suffix rather of edited. So it's same mission name, just adds edited to it. But definitely something to look into if I can do it without, breaking my storage limits, etc. Because again, trying to keep it free too. You know, if I charge people for it, like fuck yeah, I'd make databases and all sorts of stuff. And it may, I know with the planning stuff that it does have a persistence of, I believe, Sapper, you might remember, you helped me with it, like 72 hours or something like that, that you can load back into that planning page. So that may actually work on the editor as well. Some of these things are tough for me to test on my end because it's always getting refreshed. But tell me on your experience if it works. Let me know. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so like carrying on with this, it's basically just like I said, super basic at this point. This is still very much in an alpha phase. This is like the newest thing I've added, so things are still getting worked on here. But basic squadron metrics, attendance, just your ability to keep track of who's in there, and then I'll add some carrier stuff, like the greenie board, whatnot, just some fluff for your squadron to make it look nice. But it's really the purpose of it is to have your roster information, modexes, livery assignments, etc. That way the bot, which is the last thing I'll show you guys, and then let you ask any final questions, so don't keep you guys all night. Like I said, a lot of this is just moderation stuff, pretty much from here down is just your typical moderation bots. You got welcome and roles channel. You can make your own welcome section with like rules and all that. Do an onboarding page, verification gate to help keep the bots out. Reaction roles, which some of you guys may have used. You make custom commands in it, schedule messages, sticky messages, so things always like repost at the bottom so everyone sees it. Embeds, which, like I said, if you're poking around my server, you can see the embeds in here were all made with this. The ticket system I used using this. You can do giveaways with it if you want, social alerts, all your basic stuff that any moderation bot worth its salt is going to do. And then added setup guides, some stuff to help you set it up if you don't know what you're doing. You can customize the bot too. So you can change its name, the color that it posts in, things like that. But then, like I said, mission events. This is like the same thing as over here. It's just double options in case people don't want to use everything. So there's some fallback options. But this will just post an event to your channel, and you can edit it to your heart's content. I'll post one here. Where's our general chat? There it is. Test, test, test. We'll say it's in an hour and a half. I won't bother with the embed stuff. And then if you want, you can add flights, slots. How many seats? We'll say 4. So now it sees that. And there you go. So obviously we didn't do much to customize it, but you can see if I want to sign up for a Winder, press that button, and it's going to ask me what slot do I want to be. I'll be Winder 1-1. And now it shows that I'm signed up for Winder. And again, once everything's wired together, everything will talk to each other and send that information, from the bot or from the website to the bot to the mission at the end of the day, to get everything, as little work on the squadrons as possible is the goal of all this, to try to streamline as much of the bullshit that I think so many of the squadrons have to go through, I would imagine. So with that, anyone got any questions or anything else? Yeah. Yeah, and it'll walk you through, like on the setup wizard and the guide here, it'll walk you through what to do. Should maybe it hasn't been added yet. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the Discord publish, it kind of gives you a quick walkthrough of what you need to publish there. And like I said, none of this stuff gets saved. I'm not keeping anyone's like Discord tokens or anything like that. I have zero interest in doing anything like that, because if something goes wrong, I don't want to get blamed for it. uh, I'll have to check, because like I said, to be totally frank, the ready room is more in an alpha stage than even a beta. The main thing I'm showing off tonight is the OPT. This stuff works really well. Obviously, a few little bugs here and there. Some people helped me find some things, but works very well overall. You know, More feedback the better, and suggestions for other airframes especially. But everything in here works pretty well. The live is still a little bit in the works. It's not totally ironed out. But the editor, especially in the planner, are, I think ready for prime time for sure. And then I'm feverishly working away at getting these two things sorted out. The bot is pretty much ready to go. At this point, it's just finding last little bugs and errors with it. But as I said to start this, the ready room is definitely still at maybe 50, 60% done. Plenty of work for me to do. Probably. I will look into that. Give me like a week on the ready room to get something that's a bit more, like I said, ready for prime time. But the other two things are ready to go. But there's so many other people putting out all these programs that I felt like only did a portion of what mine can do. So I figured it was time to make it public. Yeah, there was a lot all at the same time. So moved my hand a little bit, probably a month earlier than I would have liked to, but such is the world. Yeah, please. Can you share your screen for me? Show me. Yeah. Yeah, and anything like this, whenever you guys have feedback like this, pictures, all the more data you can send me, the better. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I I actually have a plan to learn how to fix that because it actually is a similar problem I had with another project I'm working on, which is not why I called you guys here. But I'll go ahead and show you since we're all here. I think a few of you have seen this, but I'm working on a carrier GUI that does a few extra things, and I am working on a radar for the Marshall, and I was actually having the same problem with that. Was things being overlaid on top of each other. So I came up with a solution, but have not implemented it yet. We'll see how long DCS takes to load. And I'll have all this stuff too that I'm showing you on my GitHub and stuff like that. So if anyone wants this little tool as it's getting worked on, it'll be available. Thanks, buddy. All right, make this quick. So anyone who does LSO work knows that case 3 LSO, half the time you're just guessing because you really can't see them that well on the plat cam. Unless you have your gamma turned all the way up, things like, little tricks, but even then, it's still pretty hard to see things on the plat cam. Is this where DCS is going to crash on me? Nope. So, all right, so there's my little carrier GUI I'm working on. So all this is those F10 triggers that we were making earlier with the bot. You can use it to control all your lights rather than the atrocious F10 menu that I hate. Cycle all your beacons with it. Turn into the wind. things like that. The Marshal still needs a bunch of work, but so does the LSO, to be fair. But this is the tool that I added was night vision for the LSO plat. So now you can see case threes as far as you want. Yeah. So yeah, other stuff I'm working on, little projects. But if you guys are interested, use the hell out of this stuff and hit me up. Let me know if there's stuff that's broken, whatever else. Spread the word. Yeah. I don't have spare time anymore. Yeah, exactly. It's once this project's done, obviously there'll be updates and stuff to it, but I mean, the hard work is out of the way. Once I get the ready room situated to where it's a bit more modular for like other groups, uh, I'll be happy. And then it's just adding features as people ask for them, fixing little bugs as they pop up, things like that. So hopefully I can get back to some of my other little modding ideas and projects. You know, if I was a professional coder, I would consider charging for it. To be honest, I'm not. The thing, like I said, if I had any sense of professionalism I know enough about coding to understand what's going on and to follow along. AI is the big tool helping me do the work. Uh, I just wouldn't feel right charging for it. Plus, my whole goal with like DCS in general, like the Hornet School, etc., is just to make DCS better. And if this helps make it better, that's a win-win for me. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Glad you guys like it. Hopefully, get some traction. That's my only goal. Yeah, that was my goal. Is just like, for instance, I made a campaign, uh, just messing around. I made 10 missions in a week. Granted, I was using some templates, for my maps that I've already kind of like populated with some enemy units and whatnot. Um, but all that said, like, I was able to pump them out, because I don't have to worry about keyboards and briefings. That'll all get done once the group plans their mission. Once they plan it, I pump out the knee board and the brief. It takes me another like maybe 10 or 15 minutes to make a detailed brief and knee boards for people, and then off to the races. Oh, I got someone that wants the Discord link so they can ask questions. 1 second. Invite. There we go. But yeah, that's my TED talk. So y'all are free to roam. No, it's all good. It has been a long few months. Closer to three. Closer to three, I'd say, but it just snowballed. Like I said, I made that mass livery editor, and I was like, oh wow, I can do a lot with this in not a lot of time. And then it just, like I said, completely snowballed from there. And then I keep thinking of new ways to make it better. All right, yes, sir. My pleasure. Yeah, I'm glad people made it. Hopefully, the views on the stream go well. I haven't even looked. I've been so busy. What's up, Q? Oh, he's muted. Yeah. I would say number one, go watch Spud Knocker. He's got like a 2 hour little video course. It just does the basics uh, for mission editing. Yeah, I would recommend to start there just so you understand what's going on. Uh, I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's like playing GI Joes. Just go put your units where you want them. If you want a bunch of tanks over here, some planes over here, whatever, and then just debug it and click each button as it goes. Yeah, like Troops in Contact's a great one. It's really good for just adding some fluff, for your battle. Makes it look a little bit better from the air. Um, but it's a pain to go through each unit and add that naming convention, change the numbers so it doesn't duplicate, yada yada yada. It does eat up a ton of time. So with this, yeah, it's just a few clicks and it does it all for you. The Sam one is the big one. Like if you have a really busy, like here, just for shits and giggles. Let me find it. Oh wait, no. It's this one. Yeah, so there you go. You can see all these little red dots are pretty much Sam's. I got them all over the place on this map. There's a shit ton. So here, IADs. So you can see it's already parsed them out into how it's going to do it if I tell it to. But you can see they're all right now just named like ground 86, ground 85. And then I just hit apply and then download. And there we go. Now I have all of these are IADs. I mean, you can see some are missing like power. They're not laid out perfectly. So you want to make sure that you're setting the stuff up to work properly. But I also know our IAD script is pretty good about fallbacks. So I mean, things will still work even without certain things. They'll just operate differently. Um, but yeah, it'll go through and parse it all out for you and make them all into their own separate SAM groups that then interact as a whole with the IAD system. I don't I don't have Atmos X in because I think that does require like installation on your system. A lot of what Atmos X does though is just manipulate the existing presets from what I understand. The big thing that you're actually like installing there is like the Aurora and a few other things. Um, so mine with the advanced tab is in theory, and I have tested these. They do work. Um, it's hard to tell the difference in DCS between a snow shower and a thunderstorm half the time, but it'll adjust the weather, to try to emulate it appropriately. Um, so it's just changing the presets really of any setup for your different recoveries if you want. Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. If they could make it where it's just cooked in, I would totally add it. Okay. Thanks, guys. Well, with that, like I said, I'll end my TED talk. Get the